I'm going to do this again because I did my pre-tournament predictions for the Euros, but I wasn't given all of the information. Now we've seen all of these teams play 3 times. I'm about to lay down the 100% perfect prediction of what is going to happen in the knockouts at the Euros. Are you ready? Let's do this. What was that? Nobody's done that for like 15 years. All right, according to Google, when I typed in Euros bracket, we start with Switzerland and Italy, and things are going to get spicy for me right away. I think the Italians have not been great in this tournament. I know that that is probably not a giant surprise, and I think Switzerland looked very good against Germany. I think Switzerland's looked really good in this tournament. They handled Hungary. They were the better team than Scotland when they played them. They just couldn't score enough goals. But you know what? This game between Switzerland and Italy is going to be tight. I think particularly for somebody like Xherdan Shaqiri, who clearly has the clutch gene. I think we've established that at this point. He knows this is his last tournament. I mean, the guy's playing in MLS already, right? So I don't know. Look at me. If Italy doesn't score a 98th minute goal against Croatia, they're not here in the first place. All right. This is a team that played with fire against Albania as well and was not clearly second best in the group that they were playing in the first place. It's a matchup of 2 teams that finished second in their group to begin with. I'm going to go Switzerland. I'm going to go Switzerland with a fat, aggressive, unstoppable 1-0. Probably not going to be a barn burner of a match, but it is a barn burner of result that would give Switzerland consecutive trips to the quarterfinals. I mean, remember, in this round, last Euros, Switzerland beat France. So you don't just assume that they're going to get walked here. That brings us to the other tie, which is England and Slovakia. Now, I would love it if England lost, just because of the chaos, right? If I was English, I wouldn't love it if they lost. My apologies to the English folks here, but I would think it would be hilarious. The memes, the comedy, the meltdowns, they would be unstoppable, right? And I need somebody else to wallow in my pain because the U.S. just lost to freaking Panama. So, but I don't think it's happened. I'm not going to stand on my soapbox and say that Slovakia has any business winning this game. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be nervous. I think it will also be 1-0. I think that England's going to play a Southgate masterclass and end up in the quarterfinal, and you're going to end up with the same conversation that they've been having in England for a long time, which is Southgate sucks, and every game we play, I feel like I want to die. But also, the results aren't that bad. And England will be back in a Euros quarterfinal, which compared to what England's done plenty of times in the Euros, that's a pretty good tournament. But my goodness, Slovakia in the round of 16 is a very lucky draw. So I'm thinking we end up with an England-Switzerland in the quarterfinal, but I'll come back to that. Then we have Romania in the Netherlands. This is a tasty tournament overall because a lot of the big teams, whether it be Italy or England or the Netherlands, right, are looking beatable, right? They're not looking particularly scary. They have shown some serious weakness. And we are now looking at a Romania team that managed to win its group, right? Romania, in terms of seeding, is the massive favorite in this game as a group winner. The Netherlands didn't win their group. Romania did. But of course, and I realize I might need to keep my voice down here because I am in the Netherlands as I'm recording this from TwitchCon. The Netherlands just hasn't been that good in this tournament. I mean, we're looking at a team that just lost to Austria, right? And should have lost to Austria. But Romania has already done more than it ever could have possibly imagined, right? It did win its group, but it only won its group with 4 points. And that was only off of an unbelievable, like if you watched it, just an unbelievable, spectacular, once-in-a-lifetime type match in terms of what they got against Ukraine to open the tournament, right? That's why they won the group. They got 1 point from their final 2 matches. So I think Romania's magic ride is over, right? I think that there are underdogs in here that can make some noise. I don't think Romania is one of them. So I'm going to pick the Netherlands to go through. I'm going to pick them to go through 2-0. I think the Netherlands is actually just going to out-quality Romania, even though they got into the knockouts through a 3rd place finish. And then we get to Austria-Turkey, which is a banger of a match. Oh my goodness, Turkey back in the knockouts. Everybody's favorite dark horse since the beginning of time. Who doesn't love the fact that they have returned? But Austria, the team that nobody was looking at as a dark horse under Ralf Rangnick, that wins its group ahead of France and ahead of the Netherlands, right? People aren't really talking about how France kind of laid an egg there too, got 5 points. It's the same number of points England got, by the way, everybody. But Austria able to get 6 with a win over the Netherlands, a win over Poland. 6 points will get you through any group stage anytime unless you're the most unlucky team ever. Austria also, this is tough, but I'm going to say they're better than Turkey. I like Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Obviously, I love Arda Güler. They've got a couple of other good guys like Yusuf Yazici. Like, there is a really good core of Turkish players that are going to make them competitive and fun in the Euros for a couple of cycles for sure. But I'm feeling this is Austria's time. Turkey was very up and down in the group stage. It was much less reliable what you were going to get from them compared to Austria. So I'm going to go Austria with the win. I think we could get a crazy game here. I'm going to go 3-1 Austria. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. I'm just saying I think Austria will get a late goal to kind of stretch it on Turkey, but I think we are going to get one of the best games of the round of 16, Austria-Turkey, which would give us Netherlands-Austria in the quarterfinal, which is a great tie. A rematch, of course, of the group stage in the first place. That brings us to Germany-Denmark. I'm not going to dignify this with a long answer. Denmark is exactly who we thought they were. They've somehow managed to morph into the exact same team that showed up at the World Cup, even though they do these amazing things in qualifying. Germany's going to win this pretty comfortably. I'm going to go with a 2-0, but whatever marks down as a comfortable result for you, I'm just going to pretend that that's what I said here. And that goes to Spain and Georgia. Spain is not who I thought they were. Spain has been great. Spain went into a group with Italy, Croatia. I thought that was basically the group of death. They made it look super easy. Georgia's coming off of a win against the other Iberian nation, right? They beat Portugal 2-0. They are going to be on the high of their lives coming into this game against Spain. But look, Georgia's better than everybody seemed to think that they were, right? That seems to be the barometer that I'm measuring it, right? Mikhail Tadze, the guy that's leading the Golden Boot right now, he's been fantastic. The right, Kvaratskhelia does seem like the type of guy that can put his nation on his shoulders when the lights are brightest. And that's a great revelation for Georgia. But if they were playing the Spain that showed up at the World Cup, I would maybe pick Georgia. They're not. I'm going to pick Spain, and that gives us a Germany-Spain quarterfinal in Germany. How could you not love that? Into the last two on this death side of the bracket here, we have France and Belgium. France, sneakily bad in this tournament, not really explosive or scoring goals, but the problem is I feel like France has another gear to really turn it on. I don't think Belgium does, right? I think Belgium's pretty spent. Belgium's getting booed by its fans. They're getting memed. Now, what Belgium will be saying in the dressing room, they're going to go into this match and they're going to look at Lukaku, going to look at De Bruyne, right? They're going to be like, hey, Doku, pretend the fullback is old. Everybody else, we have an opportunity to change the entire perception of our team in this game. And that is right. If Belgium gets through France, we're all going to be looking at Belgium as dark horse golden generation. They could win the whole thing again. But, I mean, they've had so many shots at it. And Belgium's disappointed me so many times. There's no way I'm going to go with them. And you can't bet against the champ, right? The most recent major tournament in the world, France got to the final, right? In the one before that, they won. France is the best team in Europe. They've shown that consistently over the last 6 years. I'm not betting against them. They've got a gear that Belgium can't match, and I think France will get to it. Maybe it's just even 1-0. I might stick a 1-0 scoreline on this, but France is going to win the game. And that takes us to Portugal and Slovenia. Slovenia, unbelievable for them to get to this round. I would have, maybe Albania would have been the team that I would have said is most likely to go out. Slovenia would have been probably second, right? This is not a team that is a regular at these tournaments. This is not a team that has the quality to be a regular at these tournaments. They've got a great goalkeeper in Inshallah, right? You know, they've got the young striker Šeško, and then they just figure it out from there. Luka Doncic is not walking through that door. Portugal just lost to Georgia, though. But Portugal, much the same way that I look at France, Portugal has this gear where, you know, when they won that Euros in 2016, it looked and felt very similar. They were sputtering. They were on the edge of chaos. And then all of a sudden, they just got their way into the quarterfinals. So I think Portugal wins this. I do. And I know I'm picking all four favorites on the side of death, but this feels like the perfect game that Portugal can win and still be disappointed about how they won. And I feel like that's exactly the type of performance we're going to get from Portugal. I think they're going to win and be just disappointed with how they won the game. So in the top half, Switzerland and England. You know, I am tempted. You freaking know I'm tempted. You know I want to. I want to so badly. But no, I'm going to pick England to win. This is a game they can Southgate their way through. This really is a game that they can Southgate their way through. And I'm not somebody that believes Switzerland can go on and win the whole thing. I think they can get one big team, but multiple big teams is too much to ask for the Swiss. It just is. I think England can back its way into the semifinal. Now, look, there are here. I'll give this to you. Either England goes out and loses to Slovakia, or it will beat Switzerland in the next round, right? Like those are the two options, right? Because I think if England is able to get through Slovakia, I think they will be able to get through Switzerland. If the England that shows up is so damaged in the locker room that they can't even get through Slovakia, then they're not going to play Switzerland in the first place, and my bracket's already busted. So England's going to go to the semifinal. That gives Netherlands and Austria an opportunity to play the English in the semifinal. And I'm going to be honest, I don't like either of these options because I know who's ever getting to the semifinal, I'm going to have serious consideration that they're going to be able to beat England. Right, so I don't like either of these teams against England. England's draw is so good. England's draw is so unbelievably good, especially if Switzerland does obviously what I think they can do. But Netherlands against Austria, tasty, boring match. Definitely boring. It was too open the last time these two teams played, right? The 3-2 and the back and forth, they're going to shut it down. I think it would go to penalties. In the lottery of penalties, I think Austria wins. Netherlands just hasn't, they're not good at penalties. I don't know why in my mind they're just not good at penalties. So I'm going to go England, Austria in the semifinal. So this is the generational run for Austria. This is the magic run that they'll point back on 20 years and go, hey, we made it to the semifinals of a Euro. But do they make it to the final? I got to go pick the other quarters first. Germany and Spain. This is brutal. I love what Spain's doing. I love the way they're playing. They feel like that new leaf has been turned over. But Germany has also brought some great energy. But that final match against Switzerland, gives you some pause. But I think that was more Switzerland being good instead of Germany being bad, needing that late goal. But they got it. I really like what Fuelkrug's doing, and I can't believe I'm saying that sentence in the year of our Lord 2024, but I guess that's where we are. So I'm going to grit my teeth, and I'm going to pick freaking Germany. I'm going to grit my teeth, and I'm going to pick Germany to get to the semifinal of their own tournament. The vibes of the whole tournament have been immaculate. All of Germany seems, kind of buoying this team. The momentum after beating a Denmark team that's regarded much more highly than Georgia. Spain... but Spain could win this whole tournament. Spain and Germany could win this entire tournament. I have no doubt that's going to be a brutal match. I'm going to say 3-2. I think that game will open up, particularly in the second half. Those two teams are going at it. Some spectacular goals. Maybe a Cruz bomb from the rafters. And then we have France and Portugal. No contest. France wins this game. Unless Portugal is going to turn that magic on like they did to beat France in the 2016 final. I think this is where Portugal's road ends. Hilarious. Like, this just feels, it's so obvious where Portugal's going in this tournament, basically from the beginning. They're going to avoid catastrophe, right? What the hell? Oh my God. What? String just kept going. I got distracted. I think we've got Germany and France in one semifinal and Austria and England in the other. Again, I see the England name, and I am so tempted because I don't think this England team is good. Oh, England's making the final, aren't they? England's going to get all the way to the final just to get rocked again. I think England wins. I think Gareth Southgate can win these 3 games. I really do. I mean, England has got more talent on one half of the field than most of the teams that they're going up against that they could be going up against. I think the Netherlands probably has a better shot if it can play at its max ability. Now, look, I love Nicholas Seiwald. I love Konrad Leimer. I think Austria does have better players than they get credit for. It's probably my mistake for not hyping them up more in the group stage to begin with, other than saying that I thought that they were in the toughest group with Poland and whoever the hell else was there. Spain, no. It's amazing how quickly you forget the groups. Netherlands, France, and Poland, right. Yeah, no, I mean, that was the toughest group in the whole tournament. I do believe I said that there was 4 World Cup teams in there, so I was giving them some credit. Am I going to do that? Maybe it's just that I feel uncomfortable putting Austria in the final, but honestly, screw it. I'm going to put Austria in the final. I think Austria can win that game. I really do. I think that would be the best team that England plays up to that point. I think Austria's been better than Switzerland. And has an unproven track record, whereas Switzerland's track record is they cannot string those types of results together. And so I'm going to go Austria. I'm going to put Austria in the final. I mean, obviously, as a result of being a very easy side of the bracket where you're playing a third place finishing Dutch team, you're playing Turkey, and then you're playing an England team that is at best at 50%, you know. So Austria into the final, and they play the winner of Germany and France. And this is where it's going to come down to a kind of sporting philosophy for me. I think that you kind of have to get there once and believe that you can get there again in order to have the ultimate success in major tournaments. It works the same way in a lot of sports. NBA playoffs is very, very rare that a team reemerges and instantly wins the whole thing. And whoever wins this game, I'm picking over Austria. Could Austria, of course, win the entire thing? Yes. I think that according to Opta analysts, they have a 4.5% chance to win the entire thing, which is way higher than you would have thought Austria would have had to begin with. But based off of the strength of the sides of the bracket, England is also first in Opta analysts' chances to win the whole thing ranking. So pump the brakes on that. But France has been the best team in the world over the past 6 years. They just have been. They are more talented than anybody they play against. That team goes into every tournament believing it should win it. And I don't think a German team that has really reeled and struggled in the last couple of major tournaments, even though it has resurged and I believe has it in it to make a good run. And I wouldn't be surprised if Germany won the whole tournament. I picked them as the third best team in the tournament behind England and France coming in. I'm going France. I'm going France. And then I think France beats Austria, and I think they win the whole thing. Right? That's how I see it playing out. On honest to goodness. Now, France has not done anything in these three matches at the tournament to convince me that they're that team, but there is another gear there. There's another gear there. They're the most talented team in the tournament. And when all of the chips are on the table, when all effort is maximum, when all tactics are restrictive, that talent it's just going to be a little too much. And Kylian Mbappe cements his legacy as, one of, if not the greatest international player of all time. I think that's what we could be looking at, right? A World Cup win, and then a World Cup final with a hat trick that he lost, and then a European championship. I mean, seriously. But look, the way this is set up, we're going to get chaos. We're going to get underdogs. Will all four favorites win on the death side? I'm picking it. Wouldn't be surprised if it didn't happen. Here, I'll give you this. Now, if one of those four underdogs is going to pull off the upset, I'll give you this. Belgium. I think if France doesn't have the other gear, why not? They both are sucking it up right now. Seriously. Bye.